No one inside the paddock expected the announcement to land with such force. A rider long associated with gravity-defying saves and fearless late braking had finally said the words many doubted would ever come. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu was leaving World Superbike, not to retire, not to slow down, but to step directly into MotoGP, the most unforgiving arena in motorcycle racing. For years, the question hovered quietly in the background. Could his spectacular style survive on prototype machinery? Would the premier class tame him or expose him? When the deal was confirmed, it wasn't just a transfer. It was a provocation, a challenge aimed squarely at the established order, and buried beneath the excitement was a far bolder ambition. Toprak didn't arrive dreaming of points finishes. His eyes were fixed further ahead, on a future collision with the sport's ultimate benchmark, Marquez. But before that dream could even be whispered aloud, a series of obstacles, internal pressures, and technical realities threatened to derail everything. What followed would become one of the most closely watched transitions in modern MotoGP history. Long before MotoGP contracts and global headlines, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu was learning balance in a very different way. His father, a renowned stunt rider, didn't teach fear. He taught control at the edge of it. Wheelies, stoppies, balance tricks. What looked like play was actually preparation. That foundation shaped everything. When Toprak entered professional racing, he didn't ride like anyone else. He attacked corners with aggression that bordered on theatrical. Rear wheels lifted under braking. Bikes saved at impossible lean angles. Crowds held their breath because disaster always seemed one heartbeat away, and yet somehow never arrived. In World Superbike, that style didn't just entertain, it conquered. Titles followed, records fell. He didn't merely win championships. He redefined how they could be won. While others relied on smoothness, Toprak thrived on chaos, but dominance carries its own weight. Each victory sharpened the same question, whispered by engineers and rivals alike. Was this brilliance adaptable or trapped by its own extremes? Because MotoGP would not reward spectacle alone, and Toprak knew it. Still, staying comfortable had never been his nature. Offers came earlier than most realized: satellite seats, development roles, quiet suggestions that he should test the waters. Each time, Toprak declined. Not out of fear, but patience. He understood something many riders learned too late. MotoGP is ruthless to those who arrive unprepared. Wrong machinery, wrong timing, wrong support, and reputations collapse faster than careers begin. So he waited. Behind closed doors, his camp studied structures, not just bikes. They watched how riders were supported, how development flowed, how championships were truly built, and one team kept resurfacing in those conversations: Pramac. When Pramac aligned with Yamaha and gained factory-level backing, the equation changed overnight. This wasn't a gamble seat. This was a pathway. Equal equipment, direct engineering input, a team fresh off championship success and hungry to prove it wasn't a one-off. When the agreement was finalized for 2026, the message was unmistakable. Toprak wasn't stepping up to learn. He was stepping in to compete. Yet the moment the ink dried, a new reality set in. His greatest challenge wouldn't wear another manufacturer's colors. Inside Yamaha, respect is earned brutally. Fabio Quartararo had carried the project through its darkest stretches. Alex Rins brought experience and technical clarity. They weren't placeholders waiting to be displaced. Now Toprak arrived with championships in his pocket, but labeled a rookie. Same machinery, same data, same engineers watching every lap with identical scrutiny. This is where MotoGP becomes psychological, because development follows results, and results follow confidence. Every tenth of a second suddenly carries political weight. Some inside the paddock speculated quietly. If Toprak adapted faster than expected, development focus could shift. If he struggled, pressure would tighten instantly. Either way, harmony would be fragile. The garage doesn't erupt loudly in MotoGP. It fractures silently. Toprak understood the risk. But he also understood something else. To measure himself properly, he needed the strongest reference possible. Beating midfield riders would mean nothing. To validate his leap, he had to stand shoulder to shoulder with Yamaha's benchmark. Still, another enemy loomed, invisible, unforgiving, and immune to confidence: the tires. World Superbike had rewarded Toprak's instincts. Pirelli tires tolerated aggression. Slides could be managed theatrically. Braking deep wasn't just allowed. It was weaponized. MotoGP operates differently. Michelin tires demand harmony, not domination. They punish abrupt load transfers. They reward precision over instinct. Combine that with sophisticated electronics and prototype aerodynamics, and suddenly, muscle memory becomes a liability. Engineers warned early. If Toprak tried to impose his old habits, speed would evaporate. Worse, confidence would erode. The adaptation required was brutal. Brake less violently. Release pressure sooner. Trust electronics you can't feel. Accept that control now happens invisibly. For a rider whose identity was built on visual heroics, this wasn't just technical, it was existential. But those inside the Yamaha garage noticed something unexpected. He listened. He asked questions. He experimented methodically. The bravado faded. The craftsman emerged. And then came the tests. Private runs rarely make headlines. But paddocks noticed patterns, and Toprak's times began quietly surfacing in conversations that weren't meant for microphones. In Valencia, the stopwatch told a story many weren't ready for. He wasn't spectacular yet, but he was close. Closer than expected. More importantly, consistent. Mechanics noted improved rear grip management. Engineers saw cleaner corner exits. The wild saves were fewer, replaced by deliberate control. Mistakes still appeared, moments where instinct overruled calculation. But unlike many rookies, Toprak corrected them quickly. He absorbed data like a veteran. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. This wasn't a stunt rider trying MotoGP. This was a champion learning a new dialect. Fast. Inside Yamaha, optimism grew carefully. Outside, the noise intensified. Because if this continued into racing conditions, the consequences would be enormous, and the media was already sharpening its focus. By the time preseason chatter peaked, Toprak's name dominated timelines. Fans argued, analysts split into camps, savior or overreach, genius or miscalculation. Every lap became symbolic. Every comment dissected. Within Yamaha, development decisions grew heavier. Balancing Quartararo's feedback with Toprak's evolving needs wasn't simple. Priorities could shift unintentionally. Miscommunication loomed. For Toprak, silence became strategy. He avoided grand predictions. Let others amplify the tension. But internally, the strain was immense. This wasn't about podiums anymore. It was about proving that championships earned elsewhere still mattered here. And hanging over everything was a long-term vision few dared say aloud. Toprak's dream confrontation wasn't scheduled for his rookie year. It was aimed further ahead, toward a season shaped by regulatory shifts, evolving aerodynamics, and looming tire changes. And at the center of that vision stood Marquez. Not as an enemy, but as a benchmark. The rider who defined modern MotoGP dominance. The measure by which greatness is calibrated. Toprak spoke of that goal openly, not as provocation but intention. Yet the irony was brutal. The very regulations that might level the field could also reset adaptation challenges all over again. New tires, new balance points, new risks. To reach Marquez on equal footing, Toprak wouldn't just need speed, he'd need resilience through change. MotoGP doesn't crown those who peak early. It rewards those who survive evolution. And that realization reframed everything. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu's arrival in MotoGP is more than a transfer. It's a stress test for the sport itself. If he succeeds, it validates cross-championship excellence. It challenges assumptions about riding style limits. It forces teams to reconsider development philosophies. If he falters, it becomes a warning about timing, adaptation, and the cost of ambition. But one truth is already clear. He did not come to participate. He came to confront. From the quiet roads of Turkey to the loudest paddocks in the world, Toprak has always chosen the hardest path forward. MotoGP is simply the most unforgiving version of that choice. Whether he reaches his dream duel or not, the ripple has already begun. And once MotoGP starts moving beneath your wheels, there is no turning back.